Good evening once again and welcome to the show. Today we have two guests with us and they are going to introduce themselves and tell us who they are. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me to your show. My name is Mbware. I love being called a mother because that's what it all comes down to. I work with girls in crisis pregnancy and generally just their mothers. And now I've discovered that also boys have issues with abortion. So I'm working with the boys too.
Oh,
Thank you for your invitation. My name is Jose Kibi. I'm a reproductive health specialist currently working in PGH, Nakuru.
Martha, over to you. Kindly tell us about your experience with abortion and how your journey has been.
Wow. My journey started when I was in my teenage, and coming from a family that is quite cloistered. We didn't know anything about ourselves, our bodies, and what it can do and all, I mean, we didn't even watch, you could not even watch Bold and Beautiful if you saw a case. It was just, in fact, it was an issue those days. And in this time, I traveled to India young, at about 16 and a half, 17, to go and pursue my studies there. But this was the first time I was alone. You're a girl, you have money, and then guys are interested in you. And I was being naive. The first, not really the first, but yeah, I got into a relationship, I think, in the first few months I was there. And with just money, love, alcohol, yeah, we ended up getting into a sexual relationship. And of course it was what everybody does. We were never told there's something wrong with it. Mm-hmm. And by that time, we were trying to get placement in colleges. When we moved to a town and we were just a group of Kenyans, we were about 8. I think we were the first Africans there. And in this time, I actually fell sick. And we were just be having a lot of fun drinking and everything. And I fell sick. And I was having my periods were not stopping. They were very heavy. So I decided to go. Every time I want to go to the doctor, my boyfriend used to laugh at me and tell me, wait. If you are checked, they'll find there's more blood in your alcohol, not alcohol in your blood. So I'd sit down and say, okay, fine, today I'm not going to take anything for a week, and then I'll go to the doctor. So I went there there was one time, actually I was so sick and so weak, I went to hospital. And actually it was like a district hospital, let's say. And the doctor there checked me and he came back and told me, oh, by the way, you're having a spontaneous abortion. And I asked him, what is that? And he tells me sometimes the body just rejects a baby. That's what's happening to you. Mm-hmm. But in doing further tests, they also found out that I had minyo, which made that situation worse actually. Because actually I was actually having a lot of diarrhea, and so I don't know what was wrong with me. So he treated me, and he was very compassionate to me, treated me, and I left. He gave me prescriptions and I left to bring back my cycle. And they told me within a few days it'll stop. And yeah, I went on with my life. It didn't take long. I got myself pregnant again. But in your back of your mind, there's a doctor who helped and this, and he says, I went back to him and I told him, and he told me, do you want to have this baby? And I said, because the guy had panicked when I told him. And he says, I told him no. And he says, okay, fine, come back on such and such a time. And I came back, and all I know that I was given an injection and I woke up. I don't know how long I was out, but I woke up and yeah, I'd had an abortion. Went back, threw myself back into alcohol, consolation, or the guy is loving, it's madness anyway. But we stayed, we were there, and then I think the next summer, I think a few months later, a year later, in summer I remember we were having We just finished, summer was getting over, we were just about to go into our second year. I got myself pregnant again. I found myself pregnant. One thing, I was not using rubbers because I was allergic to them. I do not know why. I would get serious infections. So that one was just whatever. And then guys always tell you other stories that now, actually, when I hear the young girls saying, I always say Satan has the same lie till today. That one of, I will withdraw. And I found out that those little seeds really can move, whatever circumstances it is. So I got myself pregnant, but this time I was having a lot of pain on my side, one side. And then now I went to a doctor again, but I was in the next state. I went to a doctor and she checked me and told me you're having an ectopic pregnancy. And which is an emergency. I didn't know, but apparently it's a medical emergency. So she says, if it grows more than this, you can die. So that one I didn't even tell anybody they did it. And I went on with my life, went on with school. Just fun and everything. That passed, but by then I was feeling in myself, that one of, there's something that goes away from you. I was sad a lot of times, but I think I was missing home. I don't know, I was just sad. And being sad, you mask yourself with alcohol again, and somebody's telling you, I love you, and all that kind of thing, and you feel happy temporarily, but alone, you're down. Then after some time, I remember now I came back again and I got pregnant, and this guy had moved.
This is the fourth time you've
been pregnant? He had moved, and he was in another state. So he had moved, and this time I kept it to myself. I said, no, I'm going to talk to anybody about it. I'm not, because so long as this guy gets to me, he'll convince me to have an abortion. So I decided to just keep quiet and be by myself. And in this time, I found out actually he was having an affair with my best friend. So I was so angry. But somehow, I don't know, I think I told my friend, and I think she told him. And then he appeared from nowhere, and I don't know what power men have over us, but yeah. This time I ended up in again. Now, because like in India, abortion is legal, by the way. And it's legal in the smaller hospitals till about 12 months. And then 6 months, you have to go now to the big hospitals. So I was sent. I did a test and they sent me, and I went there. And that's the first time I met like the head of, the county, the head of gynecology. And she was just telling me, young girl, you Kenyan girls, abortion is not a family planning method. You can lose your wombs, you can start, she really gave me a stiff lecture. But I said, let her pick a kelele. At the end of the day, she'll do what I want. So that time, actually, what I know, whatever, I don't know what they injected in me. But I was left, and all I know, I could feel fluttering. These days I think about it, and I think my baby was really fighting for its life. It was just fluttering until it stopped. And then they induce you, and they actually give birth. So you can imagine the trauma, those traumas. That gave me a pause for some time, and this guy, I didn't want maneno zake and everything. The fact was the same guy, yeah. I just... So in this time, and then the fact that I found out he was going out with my best friend, actually used to cheat me, he's going to the next town, but kumbe it's like, you're living here and then you go to Gilgil and you're staying with somebody else there, you don't reach where you're going. So like, that was over, but then he had a best friend of his as well, I'm telling Love on the Rebounder, who used to know what he was doing, and he saw how hurt I was. And he came in and used to just, we used to talk quite a bit because I was staying alone. And in talking, we just became friends after some time. Yeah, I got into another relationship. And he's a nice guy. After some time, I found myself I was pregnant, and I told him, but he was in total panic. He says, do you know When my people at home hear this, they'll this and that, don't worry, we love each other, just get rid of this one. We'll go home after we finish college, we'll get married, have babies and all that, all those things. So I said, yeah, I'll go. And now I went back to this doctor, and I don't know, you go, I don't know what strength we get or what bravery we get. I went and I talked to her, and she looked at me and she just shook her head. The previous one, she says, no, this one, that time when they injected something, she insisted and put me on IUD.
Okay.
Yes, she says, I don't want to see you here.
So you went back to the same doctor?
Yes. So with the IUD as well, I reacted on that one totally. So it was removed. And then there is when I got pregnant again. So I went back to her and she looked at me and says, now what do I do with you, little girl? And I sat down and I just told her, please, I don't know, I'm about to go home. I don't know what I'll tell my parents. And I'll just, actually it's like you numb yourself. Mm-hmm. And okay, she said, fine. And she decided, I ended up in a theater because there was somebody doing anesthesia. Because it was about 5 months. She was doing anesthesia. And what I know is, whatever they did, I could see, they just put something over your face, your eyes like this. But I could see what they were doing. And I could hear what they were doing. So they're talking. But what I know, when the medicine, something happened and I just couldn't breathe. I was struggling to breathe. So this lady was doing the anesthesia, just told them, please stop, there's something wrong with her. And they think it, and funnily enough, when she stopped the medicine, I said, I could find it easy breathing again. I don't know what that was. Maybe the doctor can explain. Nobody has ever explained to me what happened to me. But I went into this. She said she's in distress. So they stopped, and the doctor looks at me and tells me, okay, fine, this sends me for a sonography. And there they send me for an ultrasound, which is quite expensive those days. I think it had just started. And then when they think that the guy who was doing the ultrasound looks at me and tells me, why do you want to kill these babies? And I'm looking at him and I'm asking, what babies are you talking about? He says, you have twins. Hey, do you know that one of, you sit down, you start thinking, and I'm thinking, I don't know what those people did down there, and I was so scared of having a child who is disabled. That was my fear. So I said, I don't know what they did, but they've interfered with this baby, let us just continue with it. Because they asked me, do you want to? I said, yeah. So I went and they went and I think opened up the cervix. There's some tablets, there's some 3, I don't know, it opens up. They manipulated it open with some tablets. But what I can tell you, I think that, in fact, she was complaining to me and telling me, the Kenyan girls, you're doing this, it makes our what is it called? The baby mortality in the hospital, because they are listed as dead babies. They don't know that I'm going to be questioned, how come so many babies are dying in your hospital? Because they know that some of them are abortions. So you're put in a a maternity ward. So imagine people are giving birth, people are seeing babies, and you are here, in your mind what you've come to do. Yeah. And let me tell you, it took me, I think about 24 hours, over 12 hours. Labor, thing. I can't remember what the thing is, but I know they opened up my cervix and they induced labor. And I'm telling you, it was painful. I've had babies, but that was the most horrendous time. And I don't know if it's horrendous because I was feeling so guilty. I do not know. But it was horrendous. I could not sit. I would walk around, and there's reached a time in the middle of the night. I was there in the morning. It was late at about 3. And I remember I got a nurse and I just told her, help me. And she takes me to the labor ward, and she checks and she just says, oh, the legs are here. And the doctors come in and they, the babies were, I don't know what they did anyway, but they were birthed. And then I heard them saying that can you preserve the placenta? We are going to harvest whatever they're going to harvest from the placenta, but it's something to do with harvesting blood and whatever, T cells or something like that. I don't know. And then they ask, what about the babies? I just put them there in the dish.
We are going to take a break, and when we come back from the break, we'll hear from the specialist who will tell us the nature of unsafe abortion. We'll be right back after this.